All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. We have the Pocket Change Market Report for January 7th, 2023. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. You guys are going out there and you guys are doing a little hunting, whether it's roll hunting or going to the shows and all that great stuff. Florida Fun Show. I think I mistakenly said it was in Orlando. It's actually in Tampa. Some of you might help me out with that, but I wish I was there to do a little meet and greet. There will be a meet and greet that you guys can go to. It's actually the annual YouTube content creators meet and greet. This year it's going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I believe the weekend of, or close to the weekend of June 29th, 30th, and then July 1st is when the event will be taking place. More details to come as far as venue and all that, but it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nice central area. Your boy Blue will be in attendance, along with various members of the live coin Q&A community. And the show in general. It's going to be really exciting. They did this event last year. I was not able to attend, but rest assured, you're going to see some of your other favorites out there as well. I believe Rob Finds Treasure is going to be there, and a few others. So some pretty big content creators will be in attendance. So come check us out, save the date, and get ready for an unparalleled experience. So getting back to the important stuff right here, Pocket Change Market Report is a 2 times a week publication here on the Blue Ridge Silverhound channel, where we talk about some of the most notable sales of raw errors and varieties, traditionally coins that folks have found out in the wild in some way, whether you're hunting through big batches of money, change. We talk about paper currency on here too. It's pretty well represented this week. A lot of good looking stuff. But overall, anything that you could find out there in circulation or at coin shows or in coin shops, and you decide you wanted to flip them because you bought them at a non-attributed price, which is always a pretty good feeling. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's something that we all strive to do. Cherry picking is a great activity if you're looking to enhance the numismatic experience, whether you're a collector or you just want to do it to make a few bucks in the process. People have been doing it for a long time. The coins that you're going to see here today are not graded. Traditionally, I don't talk about the graded stuff, because that's an unneeded expense. It's very expensive. If you went with like PCGS, it could cost as much as $60, $65 just to get an error attribution for one coin. So can you imagine sending 3 or 4 or 5 coins? You're going to be spending a lot of money, and it may not necessarily make any difference on the value of the coin. So always keep that in mind. And then furthermore, before we jump right into the honey list here, all the coins, images-wise, are 100% unedited as far as, what they look like. They're all original to the seller listings. The most that I do is I'll crop them to size and mate them together with their appropriate other image, like an obverse and a reverse image I'll put together. So that way, it kind of expedites the process here a little bit. But you're going to get the best and the worst photography from everyone here today. And you might even get a little photo taking lesson as well. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Pretty nice list. We got 30 total listings to discuss today. We're back up to a full load in case you guys haven't figured it out. I dropped it down to 25 for both the midweek edition of the PCMR and also the Saturday, and I did that through the holidays. Now we're back up to the regular scheduled amount of listings. All the sales are from the last 24 hours. Again, very, very busy. How about we start out with the 1977 $10 bill, also known as the Fed Reserve Note, as you guys know. It's a good-looking piece right here. A little bit of circulation wear. It looks like it was saved a long time ago. Showing not a lot of circulation wear. You know, a little fold in the corner and a few wrinkles here and there, but overall, just a good looking piece. The note itself, when you look at the front, doesn't really, you know, take your attention to any one certain place on there. It just looks like a regular old style, what they call small head $10 bill. But when you flip the note over, wow, look at that. You have a phantom image of the front print that's been applied to the reverse. Okay, they call this a front to back wet ink transfer. Now, in this particular case, we have a partial and not 100% transfer. You can see that there's a corner part right here that never made it transferred onto the reverse. This occurs when the printing plates and the impression cylinder make contact when there's no sheet in there. Kind of consider it to be a paper equivalent of a clash die. Clash die, same thing. When there's no planchet during the strike, the hammer and anvil dies make a little contact, thereby applying the images of each one of those dies on each other. So, you know, when you look at these things, because folks have tried to fake these, you want to make sure that the phantom image is going to be in reverse. You know, it says Federal Reserve note, and it's mirrored on here, so that's important. And oftentimes that secondary image, that print, that transfer is going to be quite light. Right? You don't see a lot of super strong, like really black ink transfers. That's another red flag if you do come across it. Now, the note is ungraded, which is great. Still a great seller. It's easily identifiable. This one sold for $107.29 with 16 total bids to get there. This is just a really minor error on this 1945 Washington quarter. It actually pops up more often than you think. The coin itself, it looks like there's nothing really special going on, but when you look up close to the date right there, some will say, well, that's a nice little lamination. But what it really is, it's a small little, what they call fissure, just a kind of a clip in certain ways. But, I mean, you have a full perimeter or, of that edge right there. They call this simply struck on defective planchet. So the planchet had a little crack in it prior to the strike. This one right here ended up selling for $13. So after fees, you're going to come close to about doubling what the melt value is on something like this. Some will say, well, is it really worth it? Again, it's all of the small pieces that end up adding into the bigger pie. All right. So make sure you're aware that you can sell things like this if you put them in the mix with other coins that are a lot more expensive. So pretty neat, although quite minor. So our next piece of currency right here has a pretty substantially nice gutter fold. You could see that line right there on the right side that actually goes through the serial number, the green district seal, or that's actually the Department of Treasury seal, things like that. Very nice. This happens when the actual sheet has a wrinkle in it. Quite common to find on much older notes. Sometimes the note isn't stretched out to show this. So really, just find a note that has a wrinkle in it and then stretch it out and see if it'll come across as a gutter. So the wrinkle is there during the printing process. So it's just going to leave a void at this point. And this one has it also on the reverse. Just felt, just kind of like helping to illustrate that this sheet was never stretched out at any one point. And it made it through the first, second, and the overprint processes. So yeah, pretty interesting note. This one sold for $48.90 with 5 bids. More currency. I'm telling you, I'm loading you guys up here. We have a 1995 $1 bill with a pretty grossly misaligned overprint. So anything with serial numbers and seals and things like that, as you can see, they're all shifted to the left and slightly up. On a much newer note, the note itself looks to be in phenomenal shape. I dare I say it's probably like an about uncirculated grade. When we look at the reverse, again, just a really model-looking citizen for paper money collectors that want something like this. This one ended up selling for $50.88 with 8 total bids. Okay, now you guys are waiting for these. We're back on to some coins, and we have a 1949S Lincoln Wheat Cent. The coin itself is showing lots of circulation. It's got a nice even brown color. I wouldn't consider it to be a beater at all. It's just, it's not uncirculated. And, coins traditionally like this tend to fall through the cracks with a lot of people that like to just hunt through change. Kind of like your casual armchair warrior type of collectors. What's really neat is, we flip the coin over and you see that different reverse than what we're used to seeing. It's either going to be the Shield or Memorial back. Sometimes the 09 Lincoln, the commemorative coins, but excuse me. But aside from that, this is anything older. You have to be on the lookout for repunch mint marks and those type of varieties. This is actually a pretty decent one, although the seller did not state specifically which one this is. This is actually RPM number 1. It's the only one that closely matches that one, and it's an early die state, which means that you're going to have very strong top curls. You can see the first primary or the secondary S mint mark was punched west of the primary in this particular case. Now, on this one, this is actually an S over S over S. So you do have multiple punchings of the mint mark. The mint marks prior to 1990 were all independently punched onto the working dies, and that's why things like this occur. Mint employee will tap the mint mark in once, find out that it's not quite where they wanted to, then they'll readjust and then tap it again, and that's where you get the repunch mint marks. This one right here, $9 sale with 9 bids. Not too bad considering its condition. It is just a circulated coin. Oh, holy bad man, corrosion. This one is not the prettiest example. Definitely showing its warts, but this is a 1955 D over D RPM as well. Some will say that, man, I wouldn't pay any amount of money to own that into my collection, but what if I told you guys that this particular coin sold for more than the 49 S over S over S that I just showed you? You guys would probably not believe me, but here's the catch. The both coins were sold by the same seller, and they were just thrown up as regular auction listings, which means people can bid them up however they see fit. So someone actually liked this thing. The ugly duckling still gets some love. There you can see the secondary Denver mint mark was punched south of the primary. This is RPM number 2, by the way. This one sold for $12.07 with 12 bids. Over $3 more than the 49S, which I think is a little bit more tougher to find. But who am I to say what you should buy, right? It is what it is. Even the coins that have some apparent damage or corrosion or staining will still be coveted in some way out in the marketplace. So don't understate the importance of those type of coins in spite of its condition, or even with its condition. Now, the coin of the week that I wanted to talk about, because I'm sure 99.99999% of you probably have overlooked this one, but this is a very well-known Cherry Picker's Guide variety. And again, it's so underrated in a way because we take for granted the 1982 date as just being a date that exists, because it's like, well, there's like 7 different date sizes and, between the Philadelphia and Denver Mint coins, and it's kind of like cumbersome. Some of them are zinc, some of them are bronze, blah, 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 things like that. But you have to pay attention to one of the more common dates. The large date 1982 bronze is one that exists out there in great numbers. So what does this double die look like? You guys are probably like, will you just shut up already and say it? Check out the motto, "In God We Trust." This is a really nice one. And again, the condition is not killer. This thing has seen quite a bit of action in the last, 40 years? of circulation. I mean, this is no spring chicken anymore. I mean, it could be, but in terms of the coin's appearance, this thing has seen a lot of activity during its day. On Liberty, you can see a little bit of doubling, especially at the bottom of the L right here. But overall, man, did you guys know this exists? Now, the coin in this condition, keep in mind, it's not graded. This one ended up selling for $86. And, with that kind of money, I can tell you this. It is a little bit scarce. But it's scarce because nobody's really looking at these things. So make sure you're looking at every 82 large date bronze for this. Nicer condition coins are going to be extremely, extremely desired. And guarantee they will sell for more money. Oh man, one of my favorites, 2001P Roosevelt dime featuring a shattered die obverse. You can see just all the cracks, that go from rim to rim again, and you have pretty substantial interior die breaks that go across Roosevelt's face. There are a number of dates within the 2000s that feature a shattered die in some regards. And this is a good one right here. As you can tell, the coin has seen quite a bit of circulation. So again, it's not a high-end, brilliant, mid-state version, which is what everybody wants. But still, this is a coin that, no doubt about it, has slipped through many untrained eyes out there. So with that being said, this is like one of the more desired errors to find out there. This one sold for $109.50 with 8 bids. Just a good old 1965 Jefferson nickel. Pretty neat little curved die clip there, or curved clip. But there's no die clip. That's stupid. I just made that up. But yeah, little curved clip right there. About the 1 o'clock position on the coin. The coin's in nice shape too. Nothing too crazy here. This one sold for $8.95. All right, well, the Tuskegee Airmen will simply not disappear. All right, the burning building strike-through coins have been quite collectible in the last year and a half, and here we are in 2023, and people are still paying a little bit of attention to these. So here you go. Here's another one here, albeit not the most powerful-looking example of the strike-through. You can see just a small little bit right there. Kind of like the beginning stages before it actually engulfed the whole building. But this occurs via a field-restricted strike-through, just a little bit of grease that's sitting on the edge of the feeder finger. And every time it makes contact with the die, it kind of shifts it around. Some will even show quite a bit of what they call feeder finger scrapes, and that's where the feeder finger actually scrapes up against that reverse die. Pretty cool. I mean, people are collecting these by progression from the smallest all the way up to the largest size. This one right here is sold for $31.60. Not too bad considering that this is the smallest size version of this, and it's one that you don't see come up in the market too often. Just like the clip that we saw a few slides ago, we have a 1999P. Again, just another run-of-the-mill example of a broad strike error. The collar wasn't engaged at all during the strike, thereby leaving a lot of metal flow going outwards. I could use my analogy again, my example, as kind of like pushing your thumb through a ball of Play-Doh. It makes that ball appear a lot bigger. The nickel is probably close to the size of a standard U.S. quarter at this point. Anyways, this one sold for $25 with 3 bids. And we also have a statehood quarter right here. This is a 2006 Denver, Nevada statehood quarter. Keep in mind the coin features some damage on here. You can see the rim damage here on the top on the reverse. There's a few digs right here behind Washington's head. So, again, it's not the most perfect example, but if someone needed something like this in their collection, and by the way, statehood quarter errors are being pursued right now, and they have been for about the last year and a half. This one right here is actually a coin that appears to be off-center, but in reality, it's a partial tilted collar, and you can tell that by looking at the edge. You can see that the half the reading was struck up on this one where the other half was not. All right, and that's why you have that plain edge there. So this coin sold for $13.88. I think that's a home run all day long considering the condition of the coin. Just a really good looking 1995 Philly Roosevelt dime, which is off center by about 15%. Good looking coin. Very nice high end example. This is probably going to end up in a date set. 95p we've talked about in a few episodes of the PCMR, so I would say it's not the rarest, but at the same time it's not the most common date. This one right here is sold for $23.88. A really good amount of money. Again, Roosevelt dime errors, they're starting to get a little bit of traction out there. They're not quite all the way. If you're looking to get into affordable error collection, Roosevelt dimes might be your thing. All right, speaking of low condition, how about this 1943 Philly silver wartime nickel? Good old Jefferson has never looked more gray in his life. But this is a very marquee variety. You guys have heard of the doubled eye, which is a doubled die obverse. Even on coins in this condition, you can see actually the extra eye right there with the top eyelid and the bottom eyelid combined. That's down and to the left a little bit on this one. Again, a very, very important variety. And for those folks who can't afford the higher end examples, folks will normally kind of gravitate to coins of this condition. This one ended up selling still for $29.95. I don't typically see these fall under like $25, even in conditions as low as like VG, like this one. So again, they're easy to see in all grades, unless they're really corroded. So another thing to be on the lookout for, make sure you're checking out all of your 43Ps. By the way, it's one of the most common dates of wartime nickels, and you might find something like this. Pretty crazy here. I could imagine this probably came out of a bank strap back in the day. Direct from the BEP, but this is a 2006 Hundo. This C note features no colorized paper or inking at all on there, except for the $100 on the bottom right-hand corner. So what's missing here? Well, the complete overprint, number one, and number two, it's a miscut. It's got that strange diagonal cut there on the top left corner. Very few of these come out in the marketplace. I think Heritage Auctions had one a number of years ago, and they're quite valuable. And the fact that here's one sitting right in front of our faces raw, I mean, these are generally graded. And this multi-error sold for $409.89, and that's with 43 bids. Just a really neat looking piece. There's a little bit of the reverse picture as well, showing that miscut. Here's a tougher date, off-center struck Washington quarter. We definitely don't see these ones that often. Date-wise, 1980 Philly is a tough, scarce date. And this one right here is in great condition. Nothing too crazy here. It's off-center by about maybe 10%. Nothing too much. This one sold for $39.95. And if you're not looking for these, I'm sorry. You're definitely missing out. 2002 Kennedy half dollar looks unassuming at first glance. And I'll tell you, the front of the coin and the back of the coin have absolutely nothing wrong with them. No errors, no varieties. Everything that you're going to find on this coin is actually going to be on the reeded edge of the coin. Now, unfortunately, the seller did not take any pictures of the edge, but you could see it clear as day here. You have this raised nub right here, and then you also have another one right here above the letter Y in Liberty. What we have here, it's real simple, is a, the seller called it a shattered collar, okay, which you can do. Especially if there are two collar cuts on the edge or more. You could certainly use that terminology. It's the first time that I've heard it, but it won't be the last either. So there were a couple of breaks in the collar. So when it strikes the coins, again, the metal flow has to go somewhere. During a strike, the metal will flow into those cracks, thereby leaving a raised anomaly. It's similar to what a standard cut is on the face of the coin, whether it's on the front or back. There are, cuts that affect the edge as well. So what are we looking at here as far as value? I don't talk about these that often, so it's always a treat to see one pop up on the market. I'm happy to say this one sold for $31. Not too bad. And I think someone had asked me, are collar cuts as valuable as regular cuts? I'm like, they're valuable. They're just not as valuable as regular cuts that you see on the front or back of the coin, because those are more identifiable. You could see them on the coin, whereas the ones on the edge, it's like the edge is the ugliest part of the coin in some cases. We have a 1990s Lincoln Memorial set. Wow, talk about strike through. This one's just that. So the dies had a pretty healthy amount of grease on both dies as part of the maintenance schedule of the mid presses. They lube everything up, and in this particular case, they even apply a nice healthy amount of that oxide grease on the dies and all the components around it as well. So this is what it looks like when it has to strike through all that grease. It's not going to upset all of the relief of the details on the coin. This one right here ended up selling for $35, which is about on par as to what some like struck through capped die coins would sell for. So that says a lot. This is a very good amount of money, and this will kind of like test the market for the future for similar examples. Now, don't mistake this coin for the previous one we looked at. Keep in mind, there's really soft, if not non-existent rims on this one, and it's got considerable weakness on both sides of the coin, even affecting right square in the middle of the reverse. This is actually a die adjustment strike example. These traditionally don't make it out of the mint. These coins were test pieces to help calibrate the pressurization of the strikes. So if it's struck too light, they'll tweak and calibrate the pressure, and then try again, and they'll keep going until they get the optimum pressure to show all of the details and the strongest relief possible. This one it's probably like an earlier test. So really remarkable. It's a 1960s coin. There's just enough of the date to determine that. Pretty cool. I love this coin. And again, you don't see true blue die adjustment strike pieces come out in the marketplace because again, they're not supposed to make it out of the mint. This one sold for $80. So, that's on a coin that's the least desirable denomination for a die adjustment strike. Die adjustment strikes on larger coins like quarters, $50, and dollar coins are kind of like all the rage right now. So if you do find one in those, that's to be a huge money coin. All right, so this one looks like it was picked out of the good old bargain section of a coin shop. 1891 Indian Ed cent is far from the prettiest example you will ever come across. The one redeeming thing, actually two redeeming things, it has full Liberty on the headdress, which indicates a VF plus grade. But boy, there's damage galore, not only on the front, you can see all the digs and scrapes and whatnot, but also on the reverse, there's some sort of like paint or something. I've seen this before. It was commonplace back in the day to paint your coins, I guess, or it could be grease or wax or something. I don't know, but these early Indians are a great source of cherry picking some neat varieties. This one is actually a repunch date. Much like the mint marks that we see prior to 1990, back in the heyday, as of the end of the Indian head cent era, which was 1909, the mint employees actually punched the numbers to the date independently on the working dies. So again, much like mint marks for RPMs, there are repunched dates as well. It could affect, 1, 2 numbers, or all of them. You just never know. This is what they call an 1891 over 1891. It's snow number 3. in his files. This one sold for $123.90. And considering that the coin probably was first purchased for like a buck or two, I mean, that's kind of a fair profit, don't you think? And when a nice variety comes across the auction block, and it's just a needed one, people have paid much more crazier amounts of money for other coins. So, this is a huge one. Oh, in case you're wondering, full bank straps with the BEP paper strap of 1s, 2s, 5s, whatever you could come across. Yeah, by the way, you could sell these for a lot of money. So this is a strap of 2s, $200 face value. The seller wanted to make mention that each one of the notes had a slight little gas pump digit shift on the last digit of every serial number in the notes or every single note in the strap. You want to make sure that it says BEP on the backside of the strap. That just means that this is direct from the BEP. It was packaged from there. Go to your local banks. See if you can get these. And it probably wouldn't hurt to actually take a picture of this strap so you have something to go off of. And and they'll let you know, like, oh yeah, we get these all the time, or oh, we don't get these at all. So really neat. I for one, want to find some of these through a local bank, and I hear that the bigger banks will be able to produce these, especially when they deal with a lot of like merchant business. A lot of companies that come in to do deposits and pick up money for registers and all that will have things like this. So we're looking at a $299.99 sale after fees. The profit is right around $60 per $2 strap, so not too bad. If you could find full bricks of these, you could actually do really well. Sell each strap and make $60 profit, and profit overall off of 10 straps, $600. It's not too bad. Oh, we got more currency. Oh boy. Actually, I love currency. 1995 $1 bill. Again, another example with a nice misaligned overprint. You can see it's down a little bit. So yeah, another great looking one here. $55.39 with 25 bids. A little bit of a reverse picture showing that this note looks like it's crisp uncirculated. All right, so here's a great example of a coin that was struck through a late-stage cap die. It's, I believe, a 1983 is what the seller had posted on here. So yeah, this is a copper-coated Zinken with that cap die strike that you see there on the left side. By the way, that's a coin that was stuck to the die. So it didn't move, it didn't fly off or shake loose or anything like that. It's still stuck to the die, thereby producing other coins with a very soft obverse or reverse image, depending on which side of the or which die that coin was stuck on. It's late stage in a way that you could see the some of the devices, so that cap was probably razor thin at this point. This one sold for $49.57 with 16 bids. Good looking one here, 1960 D over D RPM. This is the FS502, also RPM number 1. You can see the secondary Denver mid-mark punched west of the primary. This is a strong one, guys, and I found bunches of these during my day of roll hunting, and it's easy money. In mid-state red, yeah, these things are highly desired. This one, by the way, sold for $53.45. Another good off-center strike. Another tough date, 1989p. Although this coin wasn't nearly as nice as the 1980 that we saw earlier. Has a few kind of like stains on the front. Don't know what that's about. Probably like technically an AU condition coin. This one right here sold for $47 with 16 bids. Again, the price indicates a little bit of scarcity here with this date. Another good one to look out for if you guys are looking to cherry pick just cheap coins with great varieties. You can't ignore the 1935 Buffalo Nickel. that features the doubled die reverse, or the FS801. This is like a staple for cherry pickers. Now, the coin itself is probably like a good 6 condition. You know, you have no semblance of a horn on the reverse. It does have a strong date still. You know, generally those things get worn off quite a bit. This one right here, if you guys want to take a look at the word 5 cents to see all the doubling, you can see just really powerful notching on the top right of all of the letters of this particular anomaly or feature on the coin. $28.29 was the sale with 11 bids. Another good one here, although this one has a few carbon spots. 1978 Washington quarter struck off center by about 10%. This one sold for $45 with 23 bids. Again, another necessity for a off-center strike Washington date set. Here's another great example, this time on a bronze. Lincoln cent is a coin that was struck through kind of like a mid-state cap die. All right, so mid-state in a way that you don't see a lot of the original obverse design that struck through the cap and on the coin. Subsequently, the coin therefore won't have a readable date. Who would have thought? So we don't know what a date is on this, and that's okay. This is more of an anomaly for this particular error. This one sold for $36 with 15 bids. Pretty cool one here. You know, it's not a complete waste to hold on to something like this. A 1988 $1 bill. Look at all the ones. This is a 6 in a row ones. They call this the ultimate liar's poker note. You know, so if you're looking to get your boys nice and drunk, use this bill and do really well. But yeah, I mean, it's not that I've totally ignored these type of kind of like fringe fancy serial numbers, but you know, this one is actually one that I would certainly keep. Anything 6 in a row of any one number is quite nice. This one right here ended up selling for $54. You know, pretty nice. And the note is exceptional as well as far as condition. You know, it's pretty nice. You know, it looks fresh, like it came out of a brand new BEP strap. And then the final item that we're going to end off on, you guys know this one, 2021 Lincoln Shield cent with the crazy retained cud on the obverse there, and you can see the corresponding weakness on the reverse as well. You always want to pair those two up. This one has the massive interior die break as well, right to the left of the date. Again, another great coin to look out for. This is what a coin looks like after a few years of circulation wear, and it's okay. You know, again, don't be shy about pulling these out of your change because they're still very valuable. Now, uncirculated pieces tend to fall in that $250 to $300 range as of today. That's where the prices have settled, but I expect that to change as we go on through time. This one here, with its circulation and a few little dings and knocks, sold for $180.10 with 13 bids. Oh, how delightful. That's a nice little new way to start the year out right. And that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Sorry if I'm feeling a little rambly today, but you know, I love the hobby and I have a lot to share. But go ahead, go out and do some hunting. If you are at the Florida Fun Show, hopefully you guys are having a great time. I know there's at least one or two of you out there right now perusing through some coins or doing some cherry picking, you know. Hopefully your boy Blue had a little something to do with that. That's it. That wraps it up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that follow button for more stuff on my TikTok as well, at BlueRidgeSilverhound. Would love to see you guys there. We will be back Monday on the live coin Q&A live stream, so come check us out there on that channel as well. Your boy Blue will be in attendance, but I think that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to go through some weed scent bags today. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, so enjoy, and I'll see you next time.